Hello again, Rabbi.
I should have changed my background, Joe, because I still have my Thanksgiving background in place.
Well, look at it this way. Macy's has already started selling the Christmas stuff 2 weeks after Halloween ended and before Thanksgiving started. So you're you're in what I would call the perfect time frame, the more realistic one, because it's before Thanksgiving and we're doing pumpkins.
Okay.
But I had a thought, a question, an issue, and who should I go to but you?
Thank
My
you.
daughter has usually non-committal or having been raised interfaith. Her mother is Jewish and I am raised Roman Catholic. She likes the Christmas tree when we get a Christmas tree, but she enjoys it when we do have one, and she doesn't mind it when we don't. But this year, we have a new member of the family, a new puppy dog, and she wants to put a present under the tree for the dog. So we have to get a tree. So that caught me by surprise. Do you have any opinions or guidance on this?
Definitely. I definitely do. And it's somewhat simple. You're an interfaith couple, and as a Roman Catholic, you were brought up with Christmas trees. This is part of your heritage, part of your tradition, part of your observance of the winter solstice and of Christmas. It's you. And it's perfectly reasonable for you, your wife, and your daughter to have a discussion and say, gee, my upbringing, my tradition was to have a tree. I understand that you were brought up Jewish and you didn't have a Christmas tree. You celebrated Hanukkah, but Hanukkah isn't a Jewish Christmas, as some people mistakenly say or think. It's a separate holiday, separate holiday. So you have a discussion and it's coming from your background. So it's perfectly reasonable for you and your wife and daughter to decide how elaborate, what kind of ornaments would you have, with the understanding that it represents your faith. Okay?
But should we think that one side is, quote, winning and the other side is losing
There's
because we're
no,
having a tree this year?
see, I think if you think of it as winning and losing, it is, but it isn't. It only happens if you actually think it that way. If you make it into a competition, it becomes one. And I think that's very annoying because people will take something very neutral and make it into a competition. No side is winning. They're two, you have a tradition, and this was a celebration. And it's perfectly reasonable for you to share it with your wife and daughter. What I think is not reasonable is for Jews in a Jewish family to decide they want a Hanukkah bush or to decide they're going to have a winter tree. It's not part of the Jewish tradition. And why would you do that? Why don't you do something that the Inuit do? Why don't you pick on something from Aborigines? We wouldn't do that. We acknowledge that's not our tradition. That's not our religion. So we don't copy or bring in things from other. And I think that then becomes a mistake. Jews aren't, what, I want to say the rosary. No one would think that's reasonable. But how is that different from bringing a Christmas? It's not. It's another person's, another religion's observance, and it should stay. Because I think then it really cheapens the other person. I think we take away something. But for an interfaith family, it's exactly what you want to do because you represent two traditions. And you want to celebrate the two traditions that come from your backgrounds. So we have a tree. We light the menorah.
So are you saying that if you are a Jewish family and you move to a culture that does not have any Jews around and you're the only Jews, there's merit in perpetuating Jewish customs and culture around Hanukkah, but there's a lack of merit in trying to adapt to the local customs?
Now, we want to separate local custom from religion. If it's a winter solstice with snow and skiing, no religion owns snow. No religion owns skiing. No religion owns snowmen. And there'd be nothing wrong with if it's a custom involving the solstice, that's perfectly reasonable. However, when it's identifiable as a religion, then I think we're being disrespectful in taking on the trappings, because it's not coming from the heart. When you have a Christmas tree, it comes from you being 8 or 9 or 6. It comes from a background and it reminds you of things. If I decide to have a Christmas tree, it doesn't remind me of anything. And therefore, I'm just taking the trappings. And I think that's an insult to another religion, to take on the trappings when it's not part of the background of growing up. Now, if I want to convert to Christianity, that's a process. So let's start the process. But don't pick on one thing because it's pretty, because it's neat. I think it's a disservice to everyone. However, if for an interfaith family, I think you should have a ham for Christmas along with the turkey, and not a tofu turkey. That's ridiculous.
Well, I would think, actually, I remember from my parochial school days that the nuns would teach us, it's not about the celebration, it's about the intent and what you believe. And so in that respect, I believe that Sister Bernadette and Sister Joan Mary and Sister Andrew Mary would all agree with you, Rabbi. But I certainly hope that we have a nice holiday, and hope the same for you and your family. And I will probably get a tree, and we'll probably decorate it along with our menorah. And I look forward to hearing how your celebrations go. And I wish you well on this celebratory part of the year.
And thank you, Joe, because by having the menorah and the tree, you're representing your two cultures, your two religions, your two intent. Well, have happy holidays, Joe.